Hello everyone, I am Tim Johnson, online's COG Soldier 1711, and I have been playing the Need for Speed closed beta just lately, and I am going to be bringing you today everything that I believe is wrong with it, and everything that annoys me with this game. So you sit down, this may be a long one. Now before I go any further, I'm not saying that Need for Speed is a particularly bad game. I've seen a few videos out there that people are really enjoying it and they make very good points on the game. And obviously everyone has their own sort of thing on games. This just isn't the game that I was expecting it to be. And it certainly doesn't excuse the year-long gap between entries. For anyone that doesn't know, EA stated a while back now that they were not going to release a game last Christmas because they wanted to create the game that players wanted. Sort of a throwback to the old Need for Speed games like Underground, Carbon, and possibly like the old Most Wanted as well. We're just not getting that. So yeah, I've been playing the beta. Now I'm fully aware that it's in beta. I'm fully aware of issues. But these things just don't fit right. Okay, so when you first load up Need for Speed, I'll go just on in the background, expected crash at least once, but that's okay because it's a beta and I don't care. I'm expecting my bugs, as I say. So when you get to load, or when you get to actually bring you to the main menu, and you hit that play button, you're greeted with an overly long loading screen. Again, not too fussed because it is a beta and I don't really care about that, you know, just as long as I can get in and play it, that's fine. But when you do get in, you are greeted with the live action cutscene, which is just something that doesn't fit for me. I hate live action cutscenes because the acting's all wrong, the direction's all wrong, the script is just wrong. It's just bad. It's really bad. And this is no different. You greeted again with the over-the-top, dumbass American acting. And it's like everything you hate from YouTubers that with their acting abilities and them trying to become more entertaining just to try and keep you watching. For some instance, for reference, if you watch someone play a horror game, for instance, and they're just screaming, and she's like, "Oh my god!" and arms flailing everywhere. Oh, I'm so scared. It's that sort of level of cheese. It's just not. It's not right. The modern culture angle on this as well. It's all focused around like the hashtags and quotes and all sorts of stuff like this, that, and the other. And it just doesn't work. It feels outdated. I'm looking at it now. I've got the main menu up, and in the top right corner, there's a quote from some nobody that just makes a statement, and I've never heard of them. Don't know if they exist, but certainly not. I'm looking at one now. Ken Block, hooning is not a crime. Now I know Ken Block says that, or I know it's something that he has said, but certainly for anybody else, there's certainly no other big races or sort of street characters. Ken Blockists. There's no more Ken Blockists that's on here. Morohoshi-san? Morohoshi-san. I'm not interested in my review. It's the road ahead that gives me purpose. Fantastic. I don't need that. It's just wrong. And when you're in the game, that doesn't change either. To give you some kind of example, it's like when your parents walk around the house and they may say hashtag YOLO or swag. Not cool, Mom. Not cool. Don't do it. Don't do it. No. Also as well, to try and keep with this modern culture thing, there is an overuse of the word bae. Fuck me, it is overused. Just too much. It's infuriating. I don't want to hear this in virtually every single opening cutscene in the fucking game. You've already put me off. No. No. Just no. No. Also as well, something that annoys me when you first load it up is the female mechanics. Now, before anyone starts kicking off in my comments or leaving me harassing messages and one thing or another, I have no problem with females being mechanics, working in factories, doing whatever they want. Absolutely, that is fine. But we've seen this a lot, and it's consistent now in racing games that the female has to be the mechanic. There can't even be a guy in the garage now that's just helping. It has to be the woman. She has to know everything. And there's two ways this can go. She's either really friendly, light, and bimbo-ish, which comes across that she knows nothing at all, or she comes across as a butch lesbian type who knows everything. There's no middle balance. There's no middle ground. There's nothing there. You're either all or nothing, and it's frustrating. Like I don't want to play a game where I have to go to a butch lesbian to get my brakes changed, or go to a skinny bimbo blonde that doesn't know what a brake caliper is. I don't need that. I don't need that. What I need is a middle ground, and that's just frustrating. You know, we've moved past it. We've accepted women into the car racing. They know mechanics, whatever. We've accepted that. You don't need to keep visually representing it. Also, as well, the music selection is all kinds of wrong. Just wrong. For a game that is centered around street racing and gritty urban culture, this music selection is all happy, electro pop, cheese, just bad. Like Need for Speed Underground had an amazing soundtrack, and Underground 2, because the music fit that game, but this one just doesn't. It just doesn't feel right. But yeah, most of this is going to come from the main menu and the early parts of the game, and early parts of the beta from what I've played. So what about the gameplay? Okay, so the gameplay in particular, the cars are not weighted. They are too light, which makes driving pretty difficult. You can't make minor adjustments because you can't feel the car and feel where it is. You either make a massive turn or not much of a turn. You can't. It makes turning the corner difficult. It makes drifting difficult, and it just doesn't feel right. The camera as well at the back, when your wheels start spinning, it's like your head's being put in a blender and you just. I don't want to see that. I don't like that. But yeah, so cars just they're not. They don't feel like a car. They feel like they're driving on air or drifting on air. But it's weird. It just doesn't feel like a Need for Speed game. Like Rivals went almost a little bit too heavy, which took a little bit of getting used to. And this has gone in the opposite direction. It's too light. It's just complete opposite ends of the scale, and it doesn't work. It doesn't work. But when you're in all drive mode, all drive is basically Need for Speed's free roam mode, so you can drive around the city, do whatever you want. But from what I've seen, there is literally, with the exception of one or two, zero cars, zero AI, nothing around, nobody doing anything. It's just big empty streets, which at times has affected previous Need for Speed games. Most particularly, which one was it that I was playing? Is it Hot Pursuit? Yeah, Hot Pursuit. Hot Pursuit, you'd have like an open stretch and there'd be no cars coming. It's pretty much like that throughout the whole city, which is a bit weird. But I know it's a beta, and I fully expect that to change. Certainly wouldn't leave a game like that. When you come across a police car, they will bust you for doing a mile an hour over the speed limit, but you can drive through lampposts and bus stops and all sorts of stuff, and they don't really pay too much attention to it, which is a bit weird. They also, as well, when the police do decide to chase you, you do have the option to pull over and pay your fine. It's great to be able to pull up and say, you know what, I fucked up, there's my fine, take it, I want to go on my way, I don't want to be arrested, I don't want you to ram me off the road, I don't want to be shot for doing 40 and a 35. I don't. So it's great that you have that option. I hate games that are either arrest or nothing. So that's a good feature. The storyline for this is just terrible. Everything is wrong with it. It's like a reskinned version of an old game that we've seen a million times before. You start the game, you have your car, or something happens to your car. You go to a garage because you've just met this guy on the corner that says, "Oh, you can race. Yeah, come meet my buddy in the garage." Okay, you go and get your car. He gives you a better car than the one you've got. Asks for nothing for yours. It just disappears. And we're just supposed to believe, okay, yeah, I get a new car because this guy, Tom, I think his name was, Jeff said I can drive, so you get a car. I don't deserve a car just because I can drive. Absolutely not. So I don't see why it's there. I know that the process needs to happen, but we just need something a little bit different. It's just been overdone. And it's like having the same storyline in two different eras or two different shows. Like imagine watching EastEnders with one plot line and then Coronation Street with the same plot line. It's that. It's that level of I've seen it before. I don't care. Just get me driving. It's just bad. Throughout your all drive, you may receive phone calls as well. Just by simply driving around, and this has become normal in games, usually served for giving you objectives or updating you on what you need to do, or certain things. But these are done in a better way than this one. When you receive a phone call in the new Need for Speed, you are greeted with a very quiet vibrating noise. It's like if you leave your mobile on the coffee table and it vibrates. It's similar to that. It's just like a buzz, 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 sort of that sort of noise. And there's the only visual representation of that is way up in the right hand corner, and you can't notice it when you're driving around, and it causes them to be missed, which is a little bit of frustration. You'll get a notification saying you missed a call. They will call you back, but that's bigger than the actual phone call. Now, surely it should be the opposite way around if you're going to keep that system. They can also get a little bit too much as well. Driving around, I don't want to be greeted with a phone call. I don't want to chat to you. I just want to drive. I want to do this, do that, to do that. It's along the same lines. Now, if anybody's played GTA 4, I think you probably know where I'm going. If you play GTA 4, you'll get your mobile phone and you'll be driving around the city and Roman will call you because he wants to go fucking bowling every 10 fucking minutes. I don't want to go bowling with you, Roman. I don't. That's exactly what I've got from this. I don't want to go and visit you at the garage because I've just been to the fucking garage. I've fixed my car. I've painted it. I've put my new rims on. And I'm away. I'm on the street now. I don't want to fucking come back to you. Weird. Just weird. Just don't do it. Stop. Stop. If you're going to give us these objectives and things, oh, come back to the garage or come and do this, give us a text message. You're keeping the same system, but you're changing the format. And that's what I need. That's what we need. Something that's non-essential is a text message. Something that is essential, phone call. Absolutely spot on. Also as well, if EA do ever see this video or anyone at Ghost or anything like that in the early devs, and I may actually put this to them, if you're going to keep the same system as what you've got with no audio ringtone and a tiny little icon in the right hand corner of the screen in the top right, you need to change the location of that notification. Put it down into the bottom center, make it a little bit bigger, just something like you've got a call, or have a representation of a mobile on screen or something like that. I don't know, put fucking hashtag sell on it, whatever. But just move it. It needs to be moved. So far all I've done is really criticise a few niggly points, and people might be watching this just thinking, you know what, Tim, you're a bit fucking stupid. These can be easily overlooked. I don't give a shit about your thoughts and opinions, and that's fine, absolutely fine. But what about Need for Speed is really good? To be honest, what I've played, there's bits that are acceptable. but nothing that will really blow you away either. The graphics are decent, and this is something that people have been saying a lot about. Graphics are fantastic, they're brilliant, they're amazing, the reflections are so good, the lighting is brilliant, everything is just spectacular. And while that's great, there is an overly used film grain to it as well. So once you've stripped back that, you see that it is just pretty much the same graphics engine as what we experienced in Rivals. It doesn't look that much better than Rivals, to be honest. Just add Rivals, add a film grain to Rivals, and you've pretty much got this. Make it a little bit darker, and that's pretty much what you've got. Videos also look very deceiving. Just noticing now a quick clip from someone racing, and it looks fantastic. But when you're actually playing it, you'll see what I mean. You will see what I mean. If you ever get a chance to play the beta, or you're picking it up on release, you will see what I mean. It just doesn't look accurate. The customization is also pretty good as well. There's a large amount of stuff to customize. There's a lot of stuff to do, and it's a very good throwback to the old Need for Speeds, like the Underground and Carbon and the old Most Wanted and stuff like that. And it really moves away from all the supercars, the Lambos, the Ferraris, the Astons, where, you know, for licensing reasons or something, they won't let you change your front bumper. So that's good. That is really good. As well, you can sort of adjust the height of each thing. So, you know, you can adjust your suspension. So your suspension's lower in the front, higher on the back, pretty standard. Adjust your braking, adjust your gear ratios, customize the bodywork, customize the paint, customize decals. And the decal system is actually really good. It's pretty decent. It's probably on par with the Forza Motorsport series, where you can create layers upon layers of everything and create these really abstract works of art on your car, and that's really, really impressive. There is one thing to say though, and this is a pretty big however on it. Need for Speed was supposed to be a jolt back to Underground. It was supposed to be Underground for 2015, 2016, 2017, whatever. And it's lacking. In ways it kind of is, but it's kind of not as well. This was supposed to be the game where modding your mum's Fiesta with speakers and big massive rims was the key to success, as it was with previous Need for Speed Undergrounds. But it's just not. That stuff is still there, but it's also missing in terms of execution. It just doesn't really quite work. This in particular, Need for Speed, feels like the game that we should have got 3 years ago. It's the game we were waiting for, and the game that we were waiting for while buying the other ones. So it's kind of like, okay, I'm going to buy Most Wanted because I want it to be like Underground, and I'm going to buy Rivals because I want it to be like Underground, and even old Undercover, I'll buy Undercover because I want it to be Underground. This is sort of it's not quite there. It's really hard to explain. It's really hard to explain. In terms of the whole street culture and the racing and stuff like that, it is there, but it just doesn't feel like the older games. It feels like last year's game with a new skin. It just doesn't work. But yeah, like I say, it's just not the game that I was expecting it to be. And I'm not saying it's bad, as I said at the start. You know, there are certain good aspects of it. This is just more of my rant on it. But like I say, I know it's also a beta. I expect bugs. I expect things to be unfinished. I expect it not to represent final gameplay. But for all these bugs and all these issues that you've just seen and heard me moan about, there's not enough time. There's simply not enough time for them to fix it before launch. Launch November, sometime November or early December, I can't quite remember. But certainly for the issues to be addressed and for them to be fixed, that would have to be put back till about March. And only then would you really, you could pretty much nail it by March, but it needs a little bit more time. Yeah, this for a beta, it's really quite fun, but a full release, I'm going to remain skeptical. But yeah, I mean, everyone to their own, right? If you are playing the Need for Speed closed beta, or if they do make it public and you're watching this video and you've played it yourself, anything before full release, because I'll be getting onto that in a minute. Anything that you've played on beta, absolutely leave me a comment, leave this video a like, do whatever you usually do. I'm not going to beg you for subscriptions and shit like that. I don't care. But yeah, just let me know what you think, and basically just think about the things that I've said, and just think, and then think, you know what, that doesn't make sense, and that doesn't make sense, and what he said is right or wrong. Absolutely, just definitely voice off in the comments below. Definitely before a full release, if they do make a public beta, I'll be looking at that again, see if anything's changed. It probably won't, but if it does, then certainly I'll put up another video and say what I like about that, or what's still wrong, or what still needs to be addressed. And also, if I do end up getting the full release game, then I'll definitely look at how it's changed from the beta. But at the moment, it's just not right. It just doesn't feel accurate. It doesn't feel like a Need for Speed game. It's very below par. But like I say, beta. Anyway, at this moment, I'm just waffling on, talking a little shit. So if you have liked this video, just drop a like on the bottom. If you do feel like subscribing, just please do so. As always, you can find me online on PlayStation 4, on Xbox and PS3, on Steam. Don't really play Steam much. But everything as CogSoldier1711. I'll leave you a link below to all my social media as well, so give me a like on there if you also feel like it. Also on Twitch as well, and I'll be looking at YouTube streaming soon. So definitely give those a like. In the meantime, I'd like to thank you very much for watching. Take care, and I'll see you online.